Good afternoon, good evening, everybody. Welcome back into the Dragon's Den. Hope everybody's doing good today. Hope everybody that's on the East Coast and the Southeast of the United States, you're staying safe, you're staying warm, you're staying dry. For those of you that are on the road and traveling to 3D Printopia, or those that are already there that are listening in, thank you for hanging out, and I look forward to seeing you guys tomorrow. So I hope everybody's doing well. How's it going, Phantom? No, Pete Savis is out there. Mechite. Who's the other one? Work B, welcome on in. Hope everyone's doing well. Tonight is just kind of, it's the last stream before we take off and go on the trip. So at this point, it's kind of like, what's just the last things that I can grab and toss into the truck, at the last minute tomorrow. But Evil Diesel came over yesterday, and we moved Black Box downstairs, and then he came over today. Yeah, I'm not going to forget to pack Miss Dragon. She's definitely coming. You're going to 3D Printopia to see Miss Dragon again. That'll make it all 3 stateside shows this year that she's gone to. And then later today, Evil Diesel came back over, and we went ahead and loaded everything in the truck, and we were just loading in the printers as the rain started. So Black Box and Iron Dragon, the Trident that was sitting back here, are inside the truck. And then, all of our totes and bins, to include the bin that's got the 2 Rook 2020s, are in the bed of the truck, but I do have a topper on it. So it's not waterproof. There will be water that gets in there, but I mean, the entire bed would have to fill up before it got into the kitchen. I'm not that worried about it. But yeah, we're ready to go in the morning. I think the plan is to head over and grab Evil Diesel at 8 a.m. Probably stop and top off the gas tank in the truck, because I didn't do that today. As soon as it started raining, it was like, yep, nope, I'm staying inside now. Well, I have to. Then we'll hit the road, and the plan is to get up there. If we make good time, we'll check into the hotel. If not, maybe we just leave Mrs. Dragon to check into the hotel, and me and Evil Diesel go and kind of help KB3D set up and get our stuff set up. I am taking 2 box turtles. The orange and red one is going to go on the Trident and be at my table along with Black Box. And then at KB3D's booth, we'll have the KB3D Rook 2020 Mark II and the blue and white box turtle. I'll have to order some more filament, maybe do a box turtle in KB3D colors. Maybe I make him do it himself. I don't know. We'll see. See how we go. I'm not sure if the one at KB3D's booth is going to be running out. And here's the reason why. I did get that box turtle, the MMB reflash, to talk over USB and serial. It is talking. I was trying to do some prints, but there's no cutter on it. And without a cutter, that means I've got to do tip forming. Tip forming is extremely painful to dial in. I mean, we've got tip forming over here on the Prusa Mark IV, which works beautifully because it's been tuned in many, many hours in their factory. So when it comes to you, they've got everything pretty much dialed in. If you're getting stringy stringy bits there off the default profiles. It's probably more an issue with your filament um, being wet or something like that. So, hey, Hybrid Robotics, how's it going? Thank you for resubscribing for a total of 11 months. Hope you're doing well. Um, and so I made mention of a couple of things that came in today that we'll talk about. So let me go ahead and switch up. Actually, yeah, no, we'll go with this one. Um, as most of you know, we've been working with the Band-Aid solution of a Big Tree Tech MMB running their Easy 2209 drivers and a MOSFETI board. So this has been our solution to date for running our box turtles. Okay. Um, there is another solution that you can do other than the MOSFETI, and it's doing individual drivers. Like right now, this one was in the blue and white one, and for whatever reason, we were having an always on condition with lane C, which was the third motor. So I wound up quickly soldering up a new one and pulling this one out and swapping it. So I don't know if there's an issue with one of the surface components on here. And quite honestly, I'm not 100% sure how to check that. But it went away with the different boards. So I do need to check this MOSFETI out. And I've got two more of these, so I can go and build another couple box turtles using this methodology. The other option that we now have, and this is fairly new. There's been one batch of pre-orders that have gone out because Isix Tech is building these by hand, and that is the dedicated AFC light boards. So if you get one of these boards, it does come with, JST connectors and a bunch of the pins and stuff for JSTs, so that's good. And a single board. This is it. So you do need to get some step sticks, whichever ones you want, 2209s, 4492s if you really want to go old school. But these will be for your 4 motors, your CAN bus in. Well, this will be your CAN bus termination jumper pin right here. You can either run buck or USB. So in this position to the right, you're on USB. So that would be like running this on the bench to flash it. And then once you do it, and you're going to be connecting through CAN bus, you flip it to the left, and you'll be doing 24 volt and doing through the power regulator to feed 5 volt to the board. This board is the custom board. It's from Isix Tech, and it's called the AFC light board. And what you're going to have is the fan for cooling the drivers and the board. These 4 sets right here are RGB. The 2 full rows are all of your basically in-stop switches that'll be used for all of your trigger end stops, your extruder end stops, your your hub end stop, and your servo would be on here somewhere as well. I think it just goes to a standard switch pin because I don't think it's going to make much of a difference. And then this row of 4 over here is where your 4 N20 motors will plug into. This is everything on one board. Makes it very much, I'll say it, close to a plug and play, but still with the ability to um, move things around and do different things that you want to do with it. But yeah, and the nice thing is we got a nice good silk screen on the back with all the pins defined. We still don't have a pinout diagram because ISIC has not um, provided the Goebbels or like GitHub files for this board yet. So really, what we're having to do is look at the baseline config that's provided in the AFC clip, the AFC Clipper add-on. There's a hardware configuration for this board. You just kind of have to look at it and build your pinout mapping that way so you know what to plug in where, or change it up and do it however you want to. But this will be the dedicated board for the box turtle. And once again, that's the AFC Light board. It's by ISIX Tech. And ISIX is going to have full kits for this as well. Hey, Pete, welcome on in. How are you doing? Hey, Shrimp Father, Shaudell, welcome on in, everybody. Yeah, so this is going to be the dedicated board for the box turtles that we've been building. My first two are using the MMB 1.0. The next two MMBs that I got in were the 1.1. And that is, you got to be very careful there because they did the normal and swapped some pins around between the two boards. They really need to make sure which board you're using so you can get the right pinout file. The other thing that showed up was this. This showed up today. Let me go ahead and get this opened. Come on. And this is going to be this is from Celead Labs, or Celead, I don't know how you pronounce it, SELEAD Labs. And this is the EREC bomb kit. So this is the Enraged Rabbit encoder cutter. So this would be a filament cutting solution that you would put at the back of the box turtle, right in line with the exit port for the hub. Okay. And so the nice thing about that is you can put it on something like, I don't know, a rook or a bugaboo, or just about anything that you don't want to install a filament cutter on the tool head. Okay. They're kind of a pain in the butt, or they can be. We fiddled with Filometrics a little bit to get it working, or to get everything mechanically functioning right. And once we were done there, we had to go in and get it configured. And once we had it all configured, it was working well. There are going to be a few files that you'll need to print. For the most part, I think some of them are exact replicas, or the exact ones of the EREC. I believe this one is definitely different, but print and place gear. There's only like 4 files, and a 5th one will be what he's referring to as the twig catcher. And the twig catcher is basically the piece that's going to capture the cut pieces of filament, right? And you're gonna have your solution here, and the twig catcher is basically going to be a U shape that just sits over the top of it. So it prevents it from flying out, and we'll have a tray that it can go into. So yeah, I'll be working on these files. I'm not going to get any, I'm not going to really look into doing any build today. Today's just going to be a chat and chill, and I'm going to sit here and keep running through my mind on things that I need to think of or work on to bring with me to the show. But I'm not going to get into a fresh build tonight. In fact, I might sit down. How about that? We're going to sit down and take a load off. I do have a full set of extruders built. I do have the trigger wires done. I should have the stuff on hand to build the respoolers for these 4 lanes that I have sitting in front of me. I'm debating whether or not I'm going to reprint that one, which warped here fairly badly. I don't know why. It's still going to be functional from this side, and the only way you'll notice that is if you're looking at the underside of your box turtle. So I'm not sure if I want to just spend the time and filament to reprint one of these, or just let it go. And once again, this build here, which will be the 3rd box turtle, is going to be green and blue. Right, so it's metallic green and metallic blue. That's not working well. Work if I put that behind it, maybe? Yeah, there we go. So metallic green and metallic blue polymaker. Which I think is going to be a nice color, especially for a box turtle. So, yeah. So who all will I see this weekend out at the show? I think, Pete, you're not on this side of the states, are you? I can't remember. I know I saw you at Rocky Mountain. Yeah, I'm hoping to get to see a lot of you again. I know I am going to see a few people there. Daniel Modbot, Lee Marie. I thought I was going to see DB3D Dan, but he had to cancel his appearance. Of course, KB3D will be there. In fact, they should have been going in today. They took off this morning. So you won't be there now. It was still good to see you at Rocky Mountain, though. I hope we get to see you again in the coming years, because I like meeting everybody. You're not a traveler. Okay. So I was talking about Snappy Turtle. Let me bring up the display over here real fast. And this is kind of what Snappy Turtle looks like. You have a base here that's going to mount to the backside of the box turtle. And this little cutout here is where your ECAS fitting coming out of the hub is, right? So this gets mounted to the lower rail. Your PTFE tube is going to go through this hole and into your PTFE, your ECAS fitting, and make sure it's jammed all the way in there. And then you cut it flush with the face of this. And that becomes your tube for the filament to come out. And then you're going to have that swivel arm, which is the red arm. And this will get another ECAS fitting right there with, or no, it doesn't get an ECAS fit. How does that work then? There's got to be something else that that would take it over to the printer itself. He do his. I'll have to double check. And I'm not sure if I'm gonna be able to bring Cat up that way. Because normally I'd be like, okay, well, you'd put your ECAS fitting here and have your tube coming out, but then how does it cut and drop off the filament? I don't know. I'll have to continue to work on that. But yeah, we're gonna get another one of these built after 3D Printopia. And I got to keep reminding myself that I need to print the 10-tooth gears because apparently I didn't for some reason. But yeah, this is something that we'll add, and I'll be able to use this on, like I said, things like the Rook or something that I don't have a filament cutter on, because really, after using Filamatrix on the two Tridents, yeah, I'm going to print Filamatrix out for Dragon as well. And I'll have a box turtle on both Tridents and at least one of the Vorons, or the Voron 2.4. And what I really need to do is decide if I'm going to keep some of these. Well, I need to keep the 0G Mercury one on the top shelf because it won't fit underneath. But the question is do I swap the other 2.4 up and have all 4 Vorons behind me and put the K3 down next to the VZ-Bot? I don't know. Both of those are great printers. They print well. I haven't printed on them in a while. The K3 printed well over 3 kilos of polycarbonate carbon fiber. So this one right here over my shoulder. Once we got it done, we did some ABS in it. You know, of course, we did PLA when we first started before we put all the panels on it to make sure it was mechanically sound. And then that one back there printed 3 kilos of polycarbonate carbon fiber printing the parts for Black Box, and didn't break a sweat, didn't skip a beat. It's been to a couple shows, and of course at the shows, I think at Rocky Mountain I was trying to run ABS in it, and just with everybody going in and out, the doors kept opening up, and there would be like these Arctic blasts that would come down the aisleways, and I was just having way too many issues with ABS. So I switched over to PLA towards the end, and then I had the opposite problem at Murph, where we had the Black Box, the VZ-Bot, the K3, the Rooks. I brought the Bugaboo there because the Bugaboo hasn't made it to many shows either. But on those, the issue I was having was it was so hot and so humid. Oh yeah, less than 24 hours left. That's why I said I am sitting down. I am not building. Here's the snappy parts, right? And this does have the, was it the MG996R? I'll say the baseline servo. And what did I do with it? I did get the suggested servo. What's that? I think it's in here. Yeah. So this is the suggested servo, and I love this because unless I got the wrong servo, I'll show you the difference. If I can get everything out of here. I'll get everything out of here and then I won't be able to get it all back in, but a converter. Well, that's what I did, was I stabbed myself with the X-Acto blade. That was fun. At least they gave me a couple. That shouldn't be too bad. So here's the servo that it comes with. It's the Tower Pro, that's not bad. Tower's good. MG99R, right? There's Tower Pro. The one that was suggested, which is also the one that I grabbed, is the DS Power Servo. And this is the 30 kilogram digital. So this is a DS SO20A-C. So this is the one that it came with. This is the one we're swapping it out with. As you can see, this was a little bit bigger, depth-wise. This comes with an assortment of, servo arms. This one, look at that bad boy. I mean, that's a pretty intense servo arm. I've done several servos with the so the kit comes with, of course, a lot of plastic servo arms, but this was also in the larger bag. So yeah, pretty cool, pretty neat. It's always nice when they're like, yeah, and we're gonna throw in this bigger arm for you. So that was pretty nice. But yeah, servo's been working great for you, but you have a 35 kilogram one on standby. Yeah, exactly. And when you say the servo, are you talking about the MG 996R that comes stock? Or are you talking about the other one that was suggested? So for those of you that have not caught on, Thunder Keys is also in the beta. I will have to say that I have done my part in the fact that in order for us to move from a closed beta to an open beta, they set the bar at 25 serialized beta builds. I've got 2 of them already, and a third one's printed out, and I have all the parts here. I just need to assemble it, and I can't assemble it. Well, I can get all the lane stuff done, but I can't like assemble it until I cut the frame, because I'll still need to go and cut the frame. Yeah, there's 16 serials today. Well, are we up to serial number 16? Like BBT's -16? Because whatever the final serial number that was, okay, BBT 15, yeah, then that's 16. Because BBT 00 is Robert, Armored Turtle himself. So, yep. But I'm starting to print the parts now for Snappy. So I did these 2. The others I'm doing in blue, so I'll have my dual color. I got my AFC board in, so I'm debating. I'm sure all of my wiring links that I've already pre-done for the extruders and the end stops, trigger end stops over here on the rat rig. I'm sure they'll still work fine with that board. They're based on the distances I was using for the Big Tree Tech MMB. So I'm sure they'll work. Um, there's no, I'll say, pin diagram out there as far as, you know, plug lane 1 trigger into switch 0 and lane 1 extruder into switch 1. There's no mapping like that yet. But it's not too hard. You look at the AFC hardware config file, and because there's a BTT MMB v1 hardware file, a v1.1 hardware file, and then the AFC. I think they just called it AFC hardware, not AFC Lite. And then you can just look at the pins and then flip it over and look at the back and say, okay, this is going to be this switch, that switch, the other switch. So I'm sure one of us will at least write it down on paper or something here soon. Um, yeah, it's going to be roughly 250 to 300 plus the printed parts. I know Isix Tech is going to have a full kit, I think, minus frame. I'm not sure. Can't remember. In fact, let me see. How does he spell that? Isix. Pretty bad when I got to sit here and be like, oh, let me look at the board and how he spelled it. Yeah, ISIK. Okay. Oh, there we go. So, um, conversations are being had. Conversations will be had. Okay. Armored Turtle's going to be there at the show. Armored Turtle, his travel was sponsored by Fabrico. He'll be based out of the Fabrico booth at the show. DLL PDF is already listing frames for this, so you can go and get a frame through DLL PDF. I don't think they're all that. It's bling, right? And I know some people, Thunder Keys, I don't know if you had one or not, but some people have made mention that be careful with the frame. You're not going to be using the roll-in T-nuts. You're going to have to use hammerhead T-nuts. But then again, the only thing that you're doing T-nut-wise would be the mount for your electronics board or boards, and if you're going to do snappy. Other than that, hey, Chaos Drucker, welcome on in. Welcome on in. Hope you're doing well. Thank you for coming in. We're doing a pretty chat and chill stream tonight because we're getting up early tomorrow morning and heading on our road trip up to Bel Air, Maryland. We're going to have about a 7 to 8 hour drive tomorrow. And then when we get up there, we got to do load in for the show and get all set up. So thank you very much, Chaos Drucker, for coming in and being with us. We have been talking about the box turtle, right? The box turtle, which is a AMS. It's basically an open source AMS. So you got the Bamboo Lab AMSs back here. That is basically what it is an open source AMS. Am I? Second. Give me 1 second here. Let me see if I can bring it up. Yay. Okay, so we've spent the last few streams building a couple of these. So this is the Box Turtle by Armored Turtle. This is a 4-lane open source AMS. Um, you have 6-volt, 500 RPM, uh, N20 motors that we use for the respoolers, right? We drive them through gear drives. So we use these little guys here for the respooler motors. And we'll use NEMA 14 and Bondtech gears for extruders for each lane. And they will synchronize with the tool head extruder to pull and send the filament down the way. So far, I will say that if you have built it with a filament cutter, whether that's something at the tool head like the Filamatrix that I did, or Snappy, which is it's basically a mount for the Enraged Rabbit encoder cutter, servo cutting system that would mount to the back of your Box Turtle outlet hub. That works the best over trying to tune tip forming, because you can get tip forming tuned in beautifully and go to a show, and within an hour it's stringing and you're having all kinds of nozzle clogs and everything. It all depends on the environment, and if you're in your workshop, in your lab, in your print farm, you can control that stuff normally. If you are at a show, especially like the Midwest Rep Rap Festival, where it's 90 plus degrees and 80% humidity outside every day, and it's not an air conditioned environment, you're going to have problems, right? So having one of the cutting solutions would probably be a pretty cool thing to have. Now with this, there's been several other things that are being co-developed. Like Snappy is being developed by maker Milo, which is one of the beta testers. We also have Turtleneck, which is the I don't want to say it's a filament buffer, but it is a buffer, but it's buffering to ease the extruder synchronization between the lane extruder and the tool head extruder. Yeah, filament buffer's one thing, but it's not like buffering like you would see for an Enraged Rabbit carrot feeder or a Prusa MMU, right? Because we're doing filament rewinding with the Box Turtle. The buffer is more to enable it to sync the extruders back and forth. So it's more like the buffer system that's on the back of the Bambu Lab P1S or X1C, or the Annex Engineering Belay, right? But like Thunder Keys is saying in chat, it's not just a filament buffer, it's also a clog runout detection indicator as well. It will have a PCB in it. It will be a little bit bigger. So like Belay is very small, right? Here is the Belay mechanism. Your outbound is here, your inbound. So Box Turtle will be coming in this side and coming out this side going to your printer. And you've got about that much movement. So you're talking 10 to 15 millimeters of buffering, because once again, it's not trying to buffer the length of the Bowden tube, right? It's enabling the synchronization between the two extruder motors. Okay. The um the turtleneck's going to be a little bit different. It's going to have more electronics. Belay is just a an end stop, where um oh darn the turtleneck, like I said, is going to have a full PCB in it, and it'll have a little bit more smarts to it. We also will have, let's see, that's snappy, that's turtleneck. We have the Filatector, which is a lightweight, once again, end stop and 5mm ball bearing based filament runout sensor or filament detector. Just, we'll call it sensor, that can be mounted on a tool head. So I was trying to set up a box turtle to work with the Rook 2020 that I'm going to be placing at KB3D's booth. Partly because I'm bringing a Trident 300 and the black box, and I'm not pulling a trailer or anything, so I don't have the room to bring another 300 size Voron with me. So the plan was to bring the Rook anyhow, because once again, I've had a Rook at KB3D's booth now for all 3 stateside shows for the last 2+ years. Right, so I've had a printer at their show. My 0G Mercury 1 spent 2 Murphs at their show. Right. So they've been a great supporter of me and the channel. In fact, I ordered some stuff Tuesday night, Wednesday morning, I can't remember, and they're bringing it to the show for me to pick up. It'll be some spare 0.6 Obsidian nozzles, since trying to work on the box turtle, I fully clogged. Like, there's filament all the way the full length of this Revo. I'm going to have to heat it up with the heat gun and slowly work on clearing it out, because it's PLA. If it was ABS, you could have potentially like just dropped it in acetone and it would have dissolved it over time. But with PLA, you can't do that. You're going to have to go through heat cycles and dig it out. Yeah, the perks of being a content creator. Yep. Well, and Chris was like, if I need to overnight it, let me know. And I was like, no, don't overnight it. Ship it to the show, or bring it to the show with you, because, and I may pick up a couple of more as well, because at the show, the Trident's got a 0.6 Obsidian, and the black box has 4 out of 5 tool heads running 0.6 Obsidians. So if I get a clog, I want to be able to just unscrew it and put a new one in. I'll deal with the clog later. Right. But we do have 2 box turtles that are going. The one that's at KB3D's booth, once again, it has a Filatector on it, which is literally like that big. It's got an ECAS on either end. It's got a filament path with a ball bearing and an end stop. That's it. Very simple. You're just triggering an end stop, and it's designed so that you can mount it inline on any tool head. And I've got like 3 millimeters of exposed tube between the ECAS fitting on the Filatector and the collet in my extruder on that system. So it's just enough that I can push down the collet and pull the sensor off. There are a few perks. If I can start earning enough on Twitch and YouTube, because I now am monetized on YouTube. So so you can subscribe to the Twitch channel, or if you don't like that, you already have a bunch of people that you're following and have memberships too on YouTube and you much rather stay over there on that ecosystem, you can follow me on YouTube now, and there will be monthly members only streams over on that channel once I start getting members over there. Sorry. Thank you for the follow, Clown Hammer. Thank you, thank you. And then you know, we're gonna work on getting the merch back up. I need to do that. Really, I was waiting for the lull, right? We've got good evening, Clown Hammer. This is the last show I'm going to for this calendar year. I'm not going to make the Smurf. It's just, you know, too much leave to take off, too many things going on with family this year and stuff like that. Hey, Free Heathen, how's it going? How's it going? And welcome on in, Beans as well, Miss Bexy Beans. So yeah, we just been chatting. Tonight's just going to be a chill and chat stream. My mind in the background is just churning over what I need to remember to throw in the truck last minute tonight or tomorrow. But we did load the Evil Diesel came over and we loaded the printers in the truck and like all the table stuff and things in the bed of the truck. I've got a tonneau cover for the truck. Don't worry about that. But everything got loaded up today, and we were loading the printers right as the rain started in a light drizzle. But it's been raining most of the day for the last 6 hours, and it's supposed to rain all through to at least midday tomorrow. So we got all that stuff loaded in the truck. All we have to do is finish like packing our clothes. We're going to throw our luggage in the back of Mrs. Dragon's car because we're taking both cars and we'll be driving out. Yeah, we're going to be safe. We're definitely, we have enough time to get there. Like we're taking off at 8, which means we have 9 hours to get there before, we think about that, 10 hours to get there before we, as in the maker tables, get to start loading in. Right? So vendors start loading in at 4 p.m. Eastern time. We get to start loading in at 6. I think it was 6. Anyhow, my plan is to be there closer to 4. And we're going to help KB3D set up because I have things that need to go on their table anyhow. So, yeah. Hey, Solar, welcome on in. But yeah, I was starting to say, you know, my initial goal is to recover enough costs via, you know, the subscriptions, memberships, whatever, between the two platforms to, you know, cover my coffee addiction. Like we literally, we have coffee on stream every day. This is my Black Rifle Coffee Company cup, you know, says coffee or die on it. We always have cups here. In fact, this is one, and we've got the backup, so we're good, right? Because sometimes, like the Tuesday and Thursday night streams, 3 maybe 4 hours, right? We normally stop about 9 or 10. Saturday streams, those get rough. And in fact, recently we had it was an impromptu Friday stream last Friday. We did the we did the oh yeah, I have a subscription. I get, yeah, they send me coffee all the time and then I go and buy more. So daily I drink at least 2 of my 20-ish ounce Yeti mugs, and it's 1 regular, 1 decaf pod, right? And I'll drink at least 2 of those, and Miss Dragon's home, so she's doing a coffee run just about every day as well. So I'm back up to, you know, about a pot of coffee a day. But when I stream and you see me doing the mug, that's another one. But this one is I'm currently drinking Fur Missile. This is 2 pods. This cup is 20 ounces. So this is 2 pods, and it's Fur Missile. I believe it's a medium blend, but it's an homage to the military canine working dogs. So yeah, or so I can't do Red Bull. I used to drink a lot of Red Bull. God, I used to. So Red Bull vodka, right? You know, I used to drink back in the day and go clubbing, you know, after a divorce and stuff like that. You know, it happens. You know, military station in Germany, you know. But what I found was if I had Red Bull vodka, that as I'm sitting there chatting, I had a lot of female friends that would come up and chat with me. And next thing I know, I go to take a drink and my drink's empty because she's been sitting there, you know, just grabbing my drink and sipping on it as we're chatting. And I'm like, well, this is getting quite expensive. So I switched to Red Bull and Jägermeister, which is just as good, in my opinion, if not better. And the ladies normally will not drink it. So, you know, and we also won't get into doing Sambuca, right? Because yeah, me and Evil Diesel can talk to you about doing some Sambuca shots because I had a specific glass. It was about, I don't know, about like that big around and about that tall. And we'd put some Sambuca in it and light it on fire, cover it with your hand, right? Until the fire went out, create a little bit of a suction. You would suck in the fumes and then down the shot. Just kind of get you there a little bit quicker. But yeah, I don't know why we're talking about drinking. See, you guys got me started. And I don't drink anymore. And the moral of this story was I stopped drinking over a decade ago. Probably, yeah, darn sure over a decade. Yeah, dang ads. Um, but I've had gastric bypass surgery, so I can't drink anything carbonated. So Black Zambuca, yeah, Samuel Buca, yeah. So Jaeger is awesome. Um, I don't drink it. It doesn't make me do wiener dog burnouts at the airport at 2 a.m. Oh, that's awesome. That's awesome. Yeah, good times. Good times. Beans is wondering if a Beans Brandon mug is needed in the Dragon's Den. Oh, yes. Yes. If she's got one, have her send me the link and I'll order one. Not a problem. The Huntsman's drink of choice. Gotcha. And I'm back. Uh, you don't drink now just because, yeah. Yeah, I stopped drinking. There's a whole story behind it. If I see you out and about, we'll talk about it one time, but not here on YouTube. Or on, not YouTube, Twitch. Twitch, YouTube. So all of my Twitch content gets exported to YouTube because unless you're a Twitch partner, it ages off fairly quickly. So it all goes over to YouTube because well, they haven't gotten rid of any of my videos yet. So yeah. Yeah, normally for streams, I start off with full high test. Um, Mrs. Dragon already was out and about today, so she's already brought back uh, a Dunkin' run. Normally, you'll see me with the Dunkin' run. We actually have a pre-canned order called streaming order, which is an extra large coffee and a 10 pack of Munchkins. because you need some sugar to keep you going as well, right? And you need something to help soak up the acid from all the coffee. So your head coffee is good too, especially the two-stroke hot chocolate. I'll have to check that out. Have to check that out. But yeah. So anyhow, we've been doing a lot of stream lately on the box turtle as I've been going through the. I'm in the closed beta, but they said I can show the builds, I can show the prints, but I can't. Like I can say like, hey, here's what the wheel looks like. It's a printed solid hub and a TPU shell. I just can't give you the files. However, we're at 16 serials, so there's 9 more to go. I have told them that I will save some serials for people, and I will not serialize the third or probably the fourth one that I will build. Because if I'm going to go cut frames, I'm going to cut at least 2 at a time. And when I say cut frames, I literally bought a bundle of 50 2020 500 millimeter Masumi frames at Rocky Mountain Rep Rat Fest for $100. It was one of those, he didn't want to carry them all to his car, so he made me a deal I wasn't going to refuse, especially when I was coming home from Rocky Mountain with a U-Haul truck. Something else stowed away in the back of the truck after we stopped at Micro Center to get a USB charging cable. So 672, let's go. You know what? It was funny because when I was in Colorado, there was a Starbucks that was the first thing on my way out of my neighborhood heading into work. So I always stopped at Starbucks. And I knew all of the baristas there, flirted with them all and everything. But I would walk in and either they would automatically have just start making my order without me even ordering, right? They just knew and started making it. This is before there was all the online order stuff. And or I would come in at a weird time, and if there was one barista there, I would just talk to her and be like, you know what? If you got time, surprise me. And she would just make me some off, like, here, this is going to taste like a Snickers. I'm like, seriously? Holy crap, it does, type stuff. But there was 2 things. If I came in the morning and ordered a quad venti toffee nut white mocha, that meant I had at least 3 hours of meetings facing me when I first walked into the building. If I walked in and I ordered vanilla rooibos tea, their initial response would be, how long have you been feeling sick? If I went in and ordered tea, they knew that I had been sick because I would always drink tea instead of coffee when I'm sick. Even to this day I do. I don't know why. So should have gone back on Sunday. Oh, yeah. Oh, okay. So you were at Rocky Mountain? Yeah. Well, we wound up, me and Evil Diesel, we flew in on that Friday. Mrs. Dragon had driven out with a car full of printers, right? She picked us up at the airport with her mom and brother following her in her mom's car. Me and Evil Diesel, we, hit the restroom, filled up, because at the Denver airport, at the cell phone lot, which is also where you can pick up your rental cars and stuff, there's a gas station there. So we stopped, used the restroom, and then, did the output, then did the input, and got Duncan there. And we jumped in the car and started going. 5 minutes. My engine self-destructed. Kid you not. So KB3D, Chris and Chris 2 came and picked us up, like us, the humans. Um, How to Texan brought his trailer down, his U-Haul that he had, and picked up, and we unloaded the entire vehicle into the back of his trailer. And then about that time, the wrecker showed up to take the vehicle off. And by Monday mid morning, we were loading up. I mean, the plan was always that we were going to fly in and then drive home in a U-Haul because we were picking some stuff up that my wife wanted from her mom. So we were picking stuff up at the storage unit that we were going to be bringing back when we got the call from Kia that said they had authorized the engine replacement and it was on order. So I was like, well, cool, right? And so yeah, that was a trip. So we came back, we brought all of the printers back in the U-Haul. We brought all of the stuff that we were planning on bringing back in the U-Haul. We picked up something, and yeah, we picked up a couple of stowaways and everything, and we drove straight back, Colorado to North Carolina. I was driving, and when I was sleeping, Evil Diesel was driving. We're both retired Air Force, enlisted, so yeah, I mean, it was convoy duty. Yay, let's go, right? Um, was it turboed? My car or the U-Haul? Because I don't know if you've ever gotten a U-Haul, and I don't know if Canada has different U-Hauls than we have down here, but no, it wasn't turboed. No, my car was a Kia Soul, and that Kia Soul has morphed into a 2025 Subaru Forester. Yeah, Bean says she'll have a venti white mocha with almond milk. There you go. Yeah, that'll work. Or hear me out, whiskey. Yes, yes. You know what? I It is very rare now where I get something like that because after my surgery, it's all too sweet. It is. I've tried a couple times and I pay dearly for it. Right now, it's black coffee, and normally I will tell you this: Air Force, right? Shift work for years, mid shift, night shift, 12-hour shifts, 16-hour shifts. I drink coffee. I've been known to walk in, take the cold pot of coffee from the day before, pour it back in the top of the machine, top it off, throw new grounds in there, run it through again. It kills your coffee pot, by the way. After it kills it a lot faster. It'll work, but you know, I've drank stuff that in Riyadh, Saudi Arabia, when I was deployed out there in 1996, I was at um, Joint Task Force Southwest Asia, JTF SWA, and we had USMITM, the U.S. Military Training Mission. Um, there were two different things. Like USMITM had a different status of forces agreement, so they can drink and stuff like that, and we couldn't. Some of those types of things. But they were running their own comm center. We had the comm center in the next room to them, and we used to share the coffee pots and everything because we had set up in these 5-room villas that we were using for our work centers. And we were drinking. We'd all make the communal coffee pot. We're all like doors open, chatting, blah blah blah. We're Air Force, they're Army. It doesn't matter. Um, an issue happened. Somebody was like, "Oh, I wasn't properly trained." They gave messages out to the wrong person. There was classified data involved, this, that. So to cover her own butt, she goes, "Oh, I wasn't properly trained." And now everybody and their brother scrutinizing us. And we went from 4 days on, 2 days off, 8-hour shifts to 7 days on, 12-hour shifts. So we ratcheted up on the coffee to the point where the Army guys went and bought their own coffee pot because they couldn't hang with us. Now, how bad is that? So I will drink darn near any kind of coffee, right? Whatever that crap is that they call or refer to as coffee at the Aberdeen Diner in Maryland, we're still going to go. We're still going to get it because it's, whatever. It's almost like we've got to now. It's a tradition with me and Evil Diesel and KB3D Chris. Chris too will, he'll make it if he wakes up. But yeah, it was bad. Like, this was coffee that we poured into a clear glass, held it up, and you could look through it. It was lukewarm, dirty dishwater is what it was. It was bad. And that's coming from a guy that would drink darn near anything. Like, instant coffee out of an MRE works, right? Um, but yeah, the Subaru Forester, we've been tickled pink with it. It's been a great car. Beans keeps yelling at the TV. Um, I've drank almond milk. I don't. Um, that's the coffee, just as black. I mean, I use a sweet and low in it. That's it. But no cream. We don't. You don't need cream. You don't need cream. Put some hair on your chest. But yeah, no cream, no milk in my coffee. I mean, if I'm gonna get one of those, then yeah, I do. And like I said, it tears me up now. Can't do it no more. Sound like a city worker. All right, cool, Con Hammer. Take it easy. 7 days, 12 seconds plus overtime, baby. Yeah. Shakes up with the hand signal. Yeah, yeah. You're jittering. You're either on too much caffeine or you're having the withdrawal. So it's going to help with the welding, right? Help move that puddle. She says you need more Starbucks. You know what? Mrs. Dragon still goes to Starbucks, but she doesn't drink coffee. She used to drink chai tea lattes, and now she's drinking the because her doctor told her she had to stop, and she's been drinking the strawberry lemonade refresher or something like that. So yeah, like I said, I've been drinking Black Rifle, and my preference these days, right, is Dunkin' Krispy Kreme, Starbucks, and really at this point, it's Dunkin', Krispy Kreme, just about any uh, gas station coffee, then Starbucks. Like, you go to Starbucks for the ambiance and the people. That's just me. Can you stop? She keeps yelling at the TV. Oh my word, those are two of my fave drinks. Please, can I go to Starbucks with you? Sure. Yes, you can. Yes, you can, Beans. Come on down. You'll, next time you're out here together, just tell Mrs. Dragon, like, hey, Starbucks running. We're out. Not a problem. Yeah, so when I say Mrs. Dragon does a Dunkin' run, I mean she drives further to go to Starbucks, and then after she's leaving Starbucks, she puts in the order so that she can pick up the Dunkin' and come home. Yeah. Um, so yeah, that's pretty much it. We like I said, we've been working on the box turtles. I've got all the stuff printed to build out the lanes. I've got the 4 extruders built with the end stop or the end stop triggers here. I need to cut the motor wires to length. Once I get those ready to go, I've got the 4 uh, lane triggers. So these will go in the tool head or the respooler heads. So these will trigger when you've got filament present. And when you insert the filament and these trigger, it'll start running the extruder motor. So you have to push the filament in until it hits the extruder. The extruder will pull it back until it trips the next sensor, and then it stops. It says, okay, this lane's loaded. And then there's a sensor at the hub in the back. And so it can tell when it's through the hub, and then it's on its way to the tool head, and you've put in the length of the Bowden tube plus the distance to get to the tool head sensor and to the gears. So it knows it goes this far till it hits the tool head sensor, and then it slows down to hit the gears and drive into the gears. And then it's like, okay, I'm loaded to the tool head, right? So Beans, can I have Heathen with you for supervision and playtime on machines while I go off with Miss Dragon? Of course. One condition, I get a hug, then you can run off with Miss Dragon, and then I get another hug when you get back. Well, you need supervision to keep you out of trouble. And really, all that means is I just need to put a pile of parts in front of you and say, make something. Did you see Sam's new kit from Big Tree Tech? Well, I saw the new, what the hell do they call it? Fun something kit. It's the Death Racer uh, mechanics. It's the electronics and mechanics for the Death Racer. And I also told Evil Diesel that we need to stop fiddling around. He's got the stuff, but our next show, which should be, well, we'll see if we bring anything to Rocky Mountain next year or if we're just hobnobbing. But I told him next year we've got to have the Miranda tank up and running for the next show that we take stuff to. Because the Miranda tank was built. This is the Mini Tank Mark V by Ivan Miranda, right? This little guy's been built now for a while. He's just been sitting over here because I need the brains to, like the RC brains, right? So everything's been ready to go. The motors work. I just need to finish wiring up the brains and get the battery for it. And obviously put the pin in the back there. And if you remember, we shared this off because we were going to take this and stick it on top. Or I was saying what we could do is add a GoPro mount to this. And this was printed. I wonder if we could, we might not be able to get a suction cup on there. But I was thinking we could either make a motorized turret on it or put a GoPro on it and run the GoPro on it. But yeah, this is all 3D printed. These are PLA 3D printed tracks. And yeah, this was the small one that he built before he built the one that he could ride in. And I know you're familiar with this because we took this from you, right? Yeah, that's yours. One's a little bit bigger than the other, but yeah, that's your design. That is a Free Heathen design. That was going to be an homage to our Free Heathen with all due respect and kudos and acknowledgement. Oh, buddy, that was well over a year ago that we built that here on stream. So yeah, it's been a while. Bean has been on me to tour again. Oh yeah, yeah. We need that again, Free Heathen. We need you back out for one of these. And I, so Rocky Mountain is big, right? They did both halls, so it's 18,000 square feet in each hall, so it's 36,000 square feet. Just big, lots of vendors, lots of maker tables. I would love to have another maker table again, and I know that Justin, I was talking with Justin, and he's been like, hey, whatever we need to do, because I told him that I've had issues. I used to live in Colorado Springs, and I had to leave because of breathing issues that wound up exacerbating into heart issues, right? And it's why I'm out here in North Carolina. And he was like, hey, if we need to have oxygen, I can figure out how to have oxygen there. Like, that's no problem. We'll figure out how, we want you there. So I know I can work with Justin, and if I need to, I know I can ship stuff up there and things like that. So we'll figure something out. I know I can probably also talk with KB3D about getting stuff out there. But, oh, dude, my memory, I'm getting to the point where I'm forgetting things now as well. So that's no big deal. Yeah. But at this point, like I said, I'm just kind of chilling. I don't even want to get into the build of these lanes right now because while I've got the stuff, I know I have to sand down um the 8 millimeter by 80 millimeter shafts that the respoolers ride on. I would have to um, sand those down, which isn't hard. It's just running the drill and making noise. And who wants to watch a guy sand his shaft? You know. Now lube your rod and balls. They love that for some reason. Um, and by rod and balls, I am talking about literally ball bearings and the linear rails. The rods is the linear rods or linear rails. Anyone have the Panda Touch? I do not. I have X1Cs, so the Panda Touch really doesn't do much for me. I just use the web interface and the Bamboo, not the web interface, the Bamboo app. Yeah, people watch you oil your wood. Um, I I want to say Pezliz and Zombie Hedgehog both have the Panda Touch. Um, I, I just don't have a need for it right now with the X1Cs. If you had a couple of if these were P1Ss versus X1Cs, it would make a little more sense to have a Panda Touch. But for the most part, the whole Panda lineup, I mean, I could put they have a Panda Revo, right? And then E3D has a dedicated Revo, maybe the high temp Revo. The Panda, was it the Panda Cool, which is the more streamlined cooling duct? I might use that. The Panda Light, maybe. Maybe. But for the most part, like the skins and everything like that, that's really for the P1P, P1S crowd. Yeah, I mean, if I have one, it might be worth it to buy a P1 series, but I think it also works with the A1 and A1 Mini. I mean, it works with any of them, but yeah, and I mean, quite honestly, literally right over here. So I'll show you the mess. So here's my streaming setup, right? With my PC down there. That's my desk where I work. So I'm literally sitting, and this is all the stuff that I move all the time because underneath that stuff is my work laptop. And I just keep moving it from point A to point B. Eventually, I will finish out my organization, and all of that stuff will be put away properly, and I won't have to do all that. But yeah, and then we have this gap right here is where the black box sits on its dedicated stand. And then this is the rat rig on its dedicated rat rig bench. This is the rat rig bench. It's 4040 extrusion. I want to get the IDEX kit for this, but I need to figure out. Um, I need to figure out which actual components I need to grab and which ones I don't, because it can be anywhere from like 230 bucks to 400 and something bucks. I just need to know which parts I need to get, right? Okay, for Heathen. But yeah, I do pretty much everything remotely. I'll even manage my Prusas through Prusa Connect because the Mark IV is sitting behind me, and then I've got a Prusa Mini downstairs. And the nice thing is my Mrs. Dragon will be like, "Hey, I need more clips for the, for staking plants up." I'll be like, "Okay, is there anything on the small printer downstairs?" No. I'll go, "Okay, send it." You're also about to toss some coin at the 1,000, 1,000, 1,000. Really? You're going to do the Tronxy? Why is the Tron? I haven't. Now you got me, and well, I can do this because we're not like doing a build right now. So Tronxy. Well, there we go. It's the VHO 800 or VO 1000. Sign me up. Oh, thank you. So the 600 Pro, I don't want this. I wanted to see the VHO 1000. Large 3D print. I didn't realize they had one that was that big. So they've got the 1000, 1000, 1000, and then the 1000, 1000 by 1.6. Okay. Okay, so they've got it in 1.75 or 2.85 millimeter filament. The 2E12. What do they do? Figure out naming conventions from Creality? Need 18 different things in a lineup called VHO 1000. A 1000 size PEI magnetic sticker. Holy crap. Wow. So is this, see, this is the one thing, I was watching a thing about, what is it, a large Modix printer as well. And same thing. So the Orange Storm Giga in all its issues, don't let me go there. I like the idea that the bed, it's 2.4 like the bed's at the bottom, okay, and the gantry moves. The gantry, the flying gantry setup on the Orange Jordan Giga is good in the sense that it is a standard and static weight, right? It's going to move around, right? There's moving mass, but you're going to have that moving mass regardless. But why are you going to take something that you can literally build a meter cube um, and probably run 3 to 5 kilos of filament on top of it? That's a lot of mass to be moving up and down. That's going to be a lot of wear and tear on those lead screws. And I'm assuming those were lead screws and not ball screws because they don't look like ball screws. So you've got a motor on each side that's driving the pulley directly on the lead screw. No, no, top mount. Okay. Top mounted motors. I'm sitting here zooming in. So you've got top mounted motors driving lead screws. That does look lead screws. Might be ball screws. Oh, it says ball lead screw rod. So is it a ball screw or a lead screw? Kind of using all the vernacular in the same sentence. Having an IDEX type print head would be nice. There is a video you can watch. Okay. Extra large size. I don't know how loud that is, by the way. Ball screws. Okay, so it's using ball screws. That's not bad, but still, that's a lot of mass to be moving up and down. The optional PEI sheet. Open air, so you're going to be printing in you'll be printing in PLA, PETG. Might be able to do ASA if you're in a room with no AC ventilation. I like how we have this huge printer and we're going to even show it on video with a 1 kilo spool. Like, who's going to put a 1 kilo spool on there and be managing 1 kilo spools? Right? That would be kind of crazy. That video is unavailable. I mean, that's got to be a massive. Well, it looks like a massive display. It's not. It's almost like a standard, like a 5 or 7 inch display from the looks of it. It just has a huge panel there. That looks more stickery. It's not bad looking. It looks like it's well braced. I will give them that. I like the side pieces here because you don't have to fully brace, all the way up and down, but you do have those mid bars. And that's not a bad price for the volume. The question is I know Tronxy has had, like on their X5 and a couple of their other printers, they had some issues with firmware and thermal runaway. So if you do go this way, solar, I would definitely say, I'm going to assume 320C high temp hot end. Let me look through the specs before I assume. We know what that does. Silicone heating bed, tempered glass panel. So it's got a silicone heater and an insulation with a tempered glass panel for the print bed. You can get the PEI sticker, but that's worrisome because it says sticker. It doesn't say flex plate. So that would be a monolithic sticker that you're either going to put straight down on it or on top of the glass or on the other side of the glass or something like that. Ball screws is going to be good, especially for the weight and stuff. OSG 15 guide rails, external high power independent driver. So you're using DM542s. So here, rather than using like step sticks, you're using the big drivers like you would see on a CNC machine. So that's good. I don't know much about the DM542s. But having a big PEI sticker like that, so at least with glass, right? After you have to let it cool all the way down, it should release just fine. And you wouldn't do PETG on it without doing like glue or some type of interface layer. But here's the thing of flex plate, right? If you did, let's bring this up, and if you did that build right there on a flex plate, you're not going to get that flex plate off without having at least two people. When I do a large flat base print on my 300 or the 370, I do a helmet, a full helmet print on the Ender 5 turn micro 0G Mercury 1. Trying to get that flex plate up is very painful. You're not going to flex that print off of it. You're going to have to peel that entire flex plate up, then flex the plate to break the print off. That's an issue. So that's something to be aware of. If you're getting a flex plate, you're going to basically have to take that flex plate all the way off as a sheet, then flex that print off, and then reseat that sheet, which is going to be kind of difficult to get squared and aligned unless it's got alignment pegs on it. It's not the end of the world. It's just something to be aware of because it's been very hard to get like the 350 or the 370 build plate off of the sheet magnet. Yeah, when you get something this big, I would do glass. And then put glue stick or whatever interface layer down you need based on whether you're doing PETG or nylon or what have you. I would hate to see what shipping this via air would be. The more economical shipping would be by sea, which is currently unavailable. If you say by air, they'll be like, hey, add this to cart. So you got the 175, the 2.85. What is the 2E? I just realized that's showing a completely different panel on that view. So yeah, it looks like there's two different control panel setups. I mean, all in all, not bad. I'll say it's a decent price, but you really need to be able to use that size. Oh God, there's a well, I thought it's a meter by a meter by a 2 meter in the Z. Holy crud. And what kind of nozzle? 320 high temp nozzle direct drive extrusion printer head. So if it's a silicone heater, does it say whether, see, it's not saying whether it's it doesn't say whether it's a mains heated bed or you've got a 500 by 500 by 5 meter. Holy crap, dude. Like, I will tell you this. I like that this is a full meter by meter flat surface, right? I think doing the 4 500 by 500 beds that oh 500 cubed, yeah, that makes more sense. I think like the Orange Storm Giga doing 4 different build plates. Because if I remember right, the build plate on that is literally 4 different 500 by 500 build plates and print surfaces, right? That was the Orange Storm Giga. So what people were having was the issues with them not being 100% flat level across the 4 different plates. Here, if it's a full meter by meter glass, that works great. You know, that this would work. I think this works better. And if you've seen Ivan Miranda, he's done a large Core X, or not Core X. Well, he did do the Core XY, but he did a large bed flinger, and he always uses glass, right? Um, and I love his builds. I want to do one of his builds. Probably not the huge monster, the huge monster one. But yeah, I was actually, I mean, price point wise, this is a decent price point. Um, but like I said, you would be stuck really with PLA, right? Oh, The the couple of glass bed printers that I have had, I liked, right? Don't get me wrong there. Um, but the Modex printer, I just started looking at these, and I also wanted to look at a StableBot, right? Something about getting a Takato HE40 with dual like super volcano 100-watt heaters just screams I need something larger volume that I can put it on. But there's a part of me that was like, ooh, I get that mounted on, like a 180 or something like that, just to be, do the obscene. There's a speed bump bitch, yeah. Um, but the Modex, I'm not sure if they have, because that's a 60, so this is a 600 size. Um, 120, the 180, big meter. What's the Everest? Well, it has a ladder. Yeah. There you go. Um, I think one of these is like short. Yeah, that's the short and wide one. So you can do like big car parts. And I was following a guy that has one of these. And once again, you can do smaller prints and then have to join them. Or you can do a long print or a large print like this, but it's going to print for days. And your printer's tied up for days, right? And just like the Orange Store Giga or anything like that is if it fails, it's a big fail. And yeah, Modix is a lot of these are a lot of printer, but they're a lot of money. And the other thing with this being a lot of money is it's enclosed. And is it fully enclosed from day one, or is it? Yeah, because I think this is 980 by 1,000 by 1,000. Um, you can get these with the dual, with the IDEX as well. Um, yeah, I like it. It's one of those things. Yeah, please select your shipping option. China self pickup is $100. USA and West Europe is $1,600 just for shipping. Yeah, they're a lot of money that printer. Yes, it is. And the thing is, though, these are going to be more like industrial based, commercial based. Like you're buying this to do specific engineering prints, right? It's fully enclosed and all that goodness. So you're buying this for a reason. And if you buy a comparatively sized, like even the like the 60, right? The 600 by 600 by 660. Like there's stable bots. Luke's Lab has stable bots in this size range. I think it's the one he brings to the shows, honestly. And you're going to be hard pressed to get that stable bot in this same price range, right? Um, but once again, it's what is your use case and what are you trying to do it for, right? We just do Luke's. Because I'll tell you what, these guys are coming up with some cool stuff now because with the tube, they've got Calamity, which I have one for, which does it in the XY, so it's wider in the XY plane. The Takeoff, which they're now going to be selling, it's not their design, but they're going to be selling it, but it's the Y-axis plane, right? So it's more front and back, like I'll say like the rat rig or the yeah, the rat rig type thing or the Eva hot end style thing. I have one of those on order. They also have a rat rig setup. So there's Calamity, right? Once again, it's more XY. The Takeoff, or excuse me, the Calamity is more along the X axis. So side to side with the gantry. Takeoff is more Y axis across the gantry. And then they have a rat rig setup as well that will allow you to put a tube on a rat rig. So the 300 size, I'm perfectly happy with this. I actually want to put the IDEX on this 300 size. Now, there's a part of me that is now wondering in the next stage, right? So, one of the things I started talking about earlier before I squirreled out was after 3D Printopia, we're going to be talking with our CPA to determine whether or not we create one business for me and one for Mrs. Dragon, or if we just kind of do one and we work under the same umbrella, kind of a blah 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 consulting, right? And then Digital Dragon and the channels and stuff would be part and parcel under that, and Mrs. Dragon would do all of her stuff for early childhood special education and sibling disability councils and stuff like that under that same umbrella. Um, and once we do that, then I may start looking at, can I develop, or will I have a business use case for a larger size printer like a 500 size rat rig, which would make sense to get the 500 size rat rig and throw a tube on it, right? Um, yeah, all this new technology is awesome, hybrid robotics, and it's the stuff that's being done by like Luke's Lab and the Stable Bot and the mods he now has developed for the Orange Storm Giga. It's things like Modix and some of these other commercial type stuff that's going to start trickling down into consumer. Like look at we had Rack Robotics at the uh, Rocky Mountain Rep Rap Festival. Desktop wire EDM, right? We're now getting the Milo mini mill. We have the mill that's coming out by Rat Rig. That's going to be the same general size, you know, more hobbyist type benchtop milling versus, you know, like a big Bridgeport or something, right? You know, so there's a lot of new things that are coming into this hobby, um, uh, low quantity, one off prototyping market, right? Um, that I think are going to get more and more approachable by us, right? And I say by us being content creators, but you will notice that a lot of content creators, like even Joel, runs a print farm. Um, Sam Prentice, yes, he has his channel, but he does a lot of the robotic stuff as well, right? He's got a day job doing other stuff in the industry where 3D printing is leverage or assist, right? Um, you know, so that I think is cool, and that's going to be the next step for me is creating a business entity that I then can bring to the shows, and I hope to start off with a table, most likely at Midwest Rep Rap Festival. And maybe if I have the business entity, it makes more sense to drive out and bring things to Rocky Mountain, right? That's going to be kind of the evolution of Digital Dragon and this part of things. Yes, I'm still going to have my job in the IT tech cybersecurity realm. You know, that's not going to go away, but there's so much cool tech that's now filtering down that it's awesome. Yeah, just the things that you can do now. And I mean, it goes the gambit from, you know, printing tchotchkes and stuff like that to, you know, hey, we have a box turtle, you know, you can have a box turtle print it forward type thing. You've got, you know, the Voron print it forward. You've got Fabrico, West 3D, KB 3D are now providing printed parts kits, right? For people, and that may be something that I wind up doing is working with one or more of them to provide printed parts for. You can design and make parts for your robots. That's true. You can do that. One of the things we may be looking at, and I know that Fabrico was talking about, um, he liked what he saw with the at Rocky Mountain Rep Rap Festival, right? We had the battle bots there. And me and Mrs. Dragon, we brought some battle bots. We'll have the battle bots there. We had them at Midwest, and we had them at. We'll have them with us this weekend. Um, I think one of them's still working. The other one, I bent one of the N20 motors on, so I have to replace it. And I can't remember if it's the same one as the box turtles, or I can't remember which one we're using in it. Um, but it's you have different sizes, different classes, but if we can make just simple small kits, right? Look at the Death Racer. Everybody's looking at Death Racer and go, do I do this way? Do I do it that way? What kind of motors do I have? What kind of gearboxes do I need? This, that, and everything else. Well, they finally worked it out where Big Tree Tech's now got a kit, right? So you can get the kit, and then all you have to do is print your parts and assemble it, right? Now it's more approachable to more people. Same thing with battle bots. You know, Murph has had an arena. There was a group in Indiana that's not that far away that had an arena that they were willing to bring, but the Murph folks did not return their call, basically. So they didn't bring it with them. They had their robots, they didn't bring their arena, right? We've got the arena at Rocky Mountain. There is battle bots, and there is going to be an arena at 3D Printopia. So what Fabrico was talking about was, hey, throw me some designs, and if we can come up with some basic mechanics kits, you know, so it'll have the receiver, the radio, the motors, the speed controllers, whatever you need. So if we can get all of that and just pre-package them, and maybe even throw out a service to print parts for people that don't have the ability, you know, maybe they need some TPU parts, we can get those or what have you. If we can get the kits that are pre-made, we can have all kinds of people bring robots like that. The battle bots that I had for Mrs. Dragon, it was a base, the 2 motor mounts, and the blade. You know, the spinner weapon. 4 parts. It's not that much because for the weight class, for the cover, you're basically cutting thin plastic, right? Um, so you're pretty good there. It's not that bad, and that's if you're trying to get into that ferry weight, flyweight, whatever they're calling it in your area, um, which was like 150 grams, which is not a lot. If you start getting into like the 1 pound or 3 pound robots, dude, you can get crazy with stuff. You know, 3D Printopia does the 3D printed pine box derby. Standard set of rules, right? It's still the same pine box derby rules. The difference is instead of whittling wood, you're designing and 3D printing for aerodynamics, right? Um, you know what? We went from just my battle bot to or Death Racer to me and Evil Diesel had a Death Racer to we created the mechanisms, and right now we're only bringing the one. And right now, believe it or not, what happens is all 3 shows this year, it is the same exact running chassis. He has reskinned and refined the models for every show. So he completely rebuilds basically the body for all 3 shows, but the drivetrain is the same. So he just keeps refining the modeling that he's doing for everyone. Yeah, you want to build a different robot out of the kit? Exactly. Exactly. So I know that they're have they released, has Big Tree Tech released those? I know they've announced them, but I thought they were going to release them at the show. Ah, um, yeah, whatever. Give me the Big Tree. Bum bum. Yeah, I'm not sure if they probably don't have it listed on their site yet, do they? I know they were announcing it. Yeah, like the base. You know, you can get the base with the track, or get the base with the mechanism set up, and then you can go and go wild. And I even have I've got the parts. I still need to play with the brain here, but this was a standard kit. You know, once again, the mechanism style wheels, 4 independent motors, um, and independent suspension, right? So you've got independent suspension, but this right here is a solid base, and then you can buy whatever other components you need to build and make it as advanced as you want. And like I said, I've got electronics for it. I just need to do that part of the build, which I will get to. We still have the droids to build. We've got the stuff to build um the mini chopper, which we were supposed to build for 3D Printopia, and Creatix Brit was going to build the mini cheap, and life got in the way. I've got all the parts. I've printed all the parts. I would just need to paint it. And now I'm thinking about reprinting in a multicolor, so I don't have to paint it and I can just build it. And we'll go that way. But we'll see. And then maybe, like, if I decide to ever do a larger size, like a full size build, then of course I would sand it, paint it, finish it appropriately, and do like the droid, because they're going to have all the droids there again in the same location this year. Yeah, I'm trying to think. I may have got that set off of Ollie or Amazon. I cannot remember where I got it. Probably more likely Amazon, but yeah. A Death Racer at 200%, there is one. You know what I'd like to do? Because they're doing the like the ride-on e-bikes, the little trikes and stuff, and that's the new thing that um, Sam Prentice is bringing out. So Sam and Chep and a few others have the trikes. I would love to have a Death Racer that I could sit on and ride. Right? Could you imagine building, like, you've got is it Denton or Benton that built the bike with the two mechanism wheels? Could you imagine building a Death Racer the size a normal person could sit on? Like, that would be massive. That would be huge. Yeah, Matt Denton. There you go. I've been watching him do he's doing the AT-AT build that he can ride on now. Darn it. All right, I'm going to go out to Twitter. I know it's bad. I'm going to go out to Twitter and see if I can find, really? No, stop. Why is Twitter asking me for, you asking me for logins? People are killing me. Like literally logged in over here. Why are you asking me? Ugh. I already have an account. Let me sign in. There we go. I don't know why it was doing. Boost your account security. Oh, so it's just Twitter being Twitter. Okay. Um. Yes. Let me go here. Let me search for Big Tree Tech because I know that they've been tweeting about the new thing. Yeah, the Death Racer kit. Did they have a link to? Ooh, ooh. I think they do. They do. That's what I was looking for. There we go. So yeah, these are so there are two shipping methods. Pick up at 3D Printopia 2024, Sam Prentice's booth, or expedited global shipping. $180. Okay, what all does it come with? Frequently bought together with the Pandalux LED upgrade and ABS TPU filament vacuum bag, the NAMI. Yeah, I don't think that was. But talks about all that there. I'm like looking real fast to figure out if mine's out in the lineup. Should have been. Depends on which heat and what day. We were there though. Pick up at 3D Printopia. Bring your own printed parts. The kit only contains hardware components. To start printing now. Provide proof of purchase to pick up the kit at the event. There we go. That's what I was looking for. Kit bomb. A yellow ducky. Oh my God. Yes. You got to have a yellow ducky. Countersunk screws. Oh, so it's got all the screws. That's good. These M3 by 50 countersunk hex screws. Dude, the first Death Racer I printed all of my parts out of atomic filament PETG carbon fiber. I sheared the heads off of 2 screws trying to screw those 50mm screws in. LT211 quick connector, 550 brush motor, 21 tooth with connector, planetary gearbox, shaft flange. Okay, so this is the basic setup. 2-channel brushed ESC with XT60 connectors. Aluminum casing, standard servo, kill switch. The Fly Sky remote. Yeah. Carbon fiber tube for the bludger. Here the 200mm link. That's the stiffener for the chassis that they did. Oh wow, geez, that's not bad for everything that's there. That's actually pretty good. That's that's pretty good. Hmm. May have to get me one or three of them. Oh, I watch Ivan Miranda. I think I'm still a I think I am still a Patreon on his. Um, but yeah, it's oh, give me a second, folks. I just realized like my bamboo got hung up because the winding on this particular spool has been problematic because it's somewhat loose, so it's not tangled, but you'll get it to where the strands like overlap, and so it's trying to pull this one out, which is starting to pull this one tight, and then it does its little thing. The next new event should be robot death racers. Like if you could make them like semi-autonomous, that would be awesome. Um, yeah. So that'll be pretty cool. I think that'll be neat. Um, so yeah, that I think that's gonna. I think between doing something like that and then also something like the battle bots, because I'll tell you what, at Rocky Mountain Rep Rat Festival, between having our Death Racer on the table and the um, the small battle bots, the amount of kids like I was talking all the printer stuff. Evil Diesel was talking all of the like the Death Racer and the battle bot. Even though I was the one that built the battle bot, he was, he understood everything that was sitting there in front of him and just talking to it with the kids. And he had a blast just talking to kids about it all weekend long. Um, so that was really cool. Um, so yeah, that I think that having those kits is going to break down those barriers, and because you get the kit, now you have all the parts. It's just a matter of printing, and you know you you can either print it yourself or uh, get somebody to print it. It's not that bad, but the especially since like people like me, I go to the shows. I'm showing off my builds, right? I'm showing off the things that you can do. We're doing things like box turtle, which is new technology and stuff like that. Um, if a lot of times these kids are local, so they're not traveling for all the events. So having a kit that you can get, and then you've got a year to print it, get it up and running, and get it going. Um, one of two things: either one, it's good and they're going to get it done, or they're going to get it done or partway done and then walk away from it. But 180 bucks isn't too bad. If you're sitting there coming up with, you know, $700, $800, $1,000, and then walk away from something, you know. But this is something that, like Evil Diesel, I know has works on our Death Racer all the time, and he has his daughter, little Goober, there with him most of the time as he's working on it. He did an hexapod he can ride, yeah. Yeah, Ivan Miranda's been working on the like marble elevator clock. Um, I really liked his Miranda blocks idea and going through as he built the little excavator as he's working towards doing the car, and I think he was going up against Matt Denton on the car. Um, Probably Max and uh, Sam Prentice, but just watching his printer builds and seeing his CNC builds that he's made, right? I mean, it's just amazing the stuff he does, and then the projects he does with them, right? He did his he did his various tanks that he's done. He had the sandbot that he took down to the ocean. He had the one that he was actually running into the ocean with the I don't think it was a full amphibious. I think it was the sandbot. He did a like torpedo type thing. I mean, he's got all kinds of really cool stuff. Hey, Shenanigans, how are you? Are you really? Uh, are I really what? Hey, Shenanigans, are you coming out to 3D Printopia? I know you're fairly close to that one, right? Because you drove out for the one day. Oh, am I ready? Yeah. Evil Diesel came over today and we got all the printers and most of the stuff loaded into the truck this afternoon. I'm just sitting here like I've got my notepad and paper. So as I'm remembering things, I'm like, oh crap, yeah, we've got another bag full of filament and I loaded everything but the box that had like the maintenance toolkit. Like I got Evil Diesel's like full toolbox, but I had like the little 3D printer maintenance kit that has like, some Allen keys, all the common size Allen keys, the actual wrenches, the filament or the filament, the uh, like the nozzle, acupuncture needles and stuff like that. It's more of the okay, I've got the basics. If somebody goes, crap, I got a nozzle clog. Okay, hey, here you go. You know, cool. So if you remember where I was the last time in that corner, I'm on the short wall. So I'm between like the front entrance where the concession stand is and the corner where I was at. I'm on that shorter wall there. I'm looking out across the rows that are doing this. Yeah, I'll be on the upper deck again on that one side wall, front wall. So, so yeah, I'm trying to make the list of things that I remember. I'm trying specifically not to try and build anything right now, just because I'm like, no, stop. You can't take anything else. Partly because I want to make room for whatever project I bring back. Because so far, I've I've finally gone down a printer over over this year. I've got another one that's already spoken for finally. But yeah, there are several printers that I need to find new homes for, and unfortunately, they all can't keep going to Evil Diesel's house. Um, but yeah, I think he's got like 5 or 6 of mine already. So they actually need to like find real new homes and contribute to the funds for new projects. You can send one to you, Hybrid Robotics. Um, so here's the thing, right? I am not, if I was like Joel or Modbot or some of the others that are getting printers for reviews, right? Nero too, right? Um, then those I would most likely be giving away, donating, trying to find uh, schools or local maker spaces that I could take those to, right? All of the printers that you have seen me build on this channel, um, I've got personal funds in, right? Like we came to an agreement for the rat rig, but I paid the vast majority for rat rig. Black box, KB3D provided the core printer. And I bought all my tool heads and the filament and stuff like that. So I've got a stake in it just as well. Um, I am building these with my own money, right? I have no problem doing that. I like doing it, right? It's been kind of the hobby for me. I need to turn it from a cost sunk hobby into something else that's at least seeming like it's breaking even, or at least something that I can lose money on and it helps me out with the tax man, right? That's kind of where I'm looking at from the business standpoint because um, the time off and going to the events, I've got kids and in-laws in Colorado. I've got my other son is in the Goshen Elkhart area, so I get to see him when we go to Rocky Mountain. And then I think Friday night, we're going to go see some other family members on Mrs. Dragon's side in Baltimore, right? So we get to see family, but there is a not insignificant expense for travel, hotel, and all that. So if I can recoup some of that cost, or if I can take it off on taxes with some pass through type stuff, then that makes more sense for me. Um, I'll tell you, I am, yeah, there's just a lot of outlay. And at some point, I've got to start limiting the bleed out to a degree. But that's just the business side of doing things, right? Um, but yeah, I like doing it. I like doing these builds. At some point, like I did the build for Chewy, which was, really just the cost of materials. It was me building on the channel to grow the channel with cost of materials. But I wouldn't mind building, building printers on like a consignment basis. But it would have to be something that would be close by enough that I can either drive and deliver it, they can come pick it up or something like that. Like I would hate to build like a rat rig and then have to ship it to somebody. That would be, yeah, because that would increase the cost big time. Now doing like what I was trying to talk Photosment into doing, which was, hey, you buy the Voron kit and I'll fly out and build it on vacation. you know, Mrs. Dragon was all for that. What? Trip to Greece so that we can, why not? Um, he was down for that. In fact, I think she went and got her passport immediately. So yeah, I would love to go to Smurf, right? But I would need some kind of backing, or I'm not going to one or two events stateside to be able to because that's an even more expensive trip with plane, flight, and everything. Because there's no way that I'm going to that and Mrs. Dragon's staying home, right? So yeah, but I would love to do a Smurf, um, and that's been a thought for next year as well. And I've got to check it out because I made it through another round of layoffs with Cisco. So, and I know Cisco has locations in the UK. So who knows? Maybe I can go out there, stay a little bit longer, and work. Not work, not work like work, but go do Smurf and then stay for a few days and literally work, whether it's in the office or telework from the UK for a bit. And Mrs. Dragon can go find her bestie, Bexy, and go hang out with Bexy. I think Smurf is in Cambridge, I think. The UK is more like state to state stuff, anyhow. Like most of Europe feels more like driving state to state. Like I was in Germany and I would drive over to Belgium all the time for work, like literally 13 trips in a year out to Belgium. Like that was sweet because I would go out there, I'd be on civilian orders, not military orders. So they put me up in the 4-star Lido downtown, or I would go out if I got lucky and they actually sent me to Brussels instead of Mons. Because normally they'd send me out to Mons and base me in Mons, Belgium, where Shape headquarters is. And then they would have me do a day trip over to NATO headquarters and support, provide some on on location support for them. Um, and but they would normally do that day trip. Well, one time they sent me out there and they actually put me up in the Crown, which is a 5-star hotel. And yeah, dude, I went down to the bar in the Crown and I took my tie off. So I was in slacks and a dress shirt and felt underdressed in the bar in the hotel. So pack yourself. Hey zombie, how's it going? Yeah, pack myself. I'm assuming that I will get myself in the truck tomorrow morning because yeah, I've gotta be the one driving. So are you flying out tomorrow or are you already there in Maryland today? Are you driving out or how are you getting there, zombie? Actually, you were driving because you were bringing Stealth Changer, right? You're here? Okay. Yeah. I know KB3D Chris got there as well. We're staying at the same hotel as KB3D are, so we'll be getting there. We're going to take off at 8 in the morning tomorrow to drive up there. Um, that way, Evil Diesel can get his daughter to school in the morning, and then I'll swing by, pick him up, and we'll start the drive up. And I think we're going to be driving through the rain the entire freaking way. Yeah, we'll be up there tomorrow. The truck's all packed. We just got to get the the final stuff, the loose stuff that you grab the last minute to toss in there. Um, I feel like we're going light because we're bringing Black Box, Iron Dragon, which is the trident that's over here. I've got 2 box turtles and 2 Rook 2020s. So Thanks for the alert, Hybrid. Yeah, I don't think it's going to be too bad. I think Florida is still getting the brunt of it, but it's been raining since about 12:30ish today. So it's rained the entire time. I think it's still raining now too. Eh, Yeah, it still says we got a light rain, but it's supposed to rain the whole time. And in fact, it's supposed to rain. Yeah, look, it's gonna go away at midnight ish and start back up around 7 a.m. And it's gonna rain the whole time, and we're gonna keep following the storm up because last time I checked, it's supposed to be raining in Bel Air like the whole weekend. It's like not constantly nonstop, but there's rain in the forecast every day over the week. And quite honestly, I mean, I grew up in Florida, so driving in the liquid rain and the hard thunderstorms and everything isn't bad for me. I was stationed in Alaska for 3 years, so the snow is, so that, and yeah, yeah, we'll see you tomorrow. Hopefully, there's no issues on the road, but we'll definitely see you tomorrow, Zombie. I'm not going to stay on here too much longer. I'm going to get off here, kind of relax a little bit with Mrs. Dragon, and try and hit the sack a little bit early tonight, so that I can get a good night's sleep before driving tomorrow. Um, but yeah, I just wanted to do a chat and chill, kind of shoot the breeze, so to speak. Chat about different things. Um, I did get shipment notification. In fact, that's the one thing I do need to check because knowing my luck, you're only in Florida twice, not for me. I grew up there, and I'll tell you what, I went up to Alaska with first duty assignment in the Air Force. After spending a year there, my brother brought me back, me and my wife back, so that everybody could see the baby. Um, in July, I was sitting in the back of the plane, and I knew when they opened the door because I felt the pressure change, and I immediately broke out in a sweat. Right. So summer in Alaska, it's like low 70s. It's beautiful. Summer in Florida, like 98 and 98% humidity. It was bad. It was horrid. Um, I wanted to check something. Dear God, when is this election over? That's what I want to know. When the hell am I going to stop getting all these text messages about the election? Sorry, that was a side rant. Um, what I was looking for is the shipment notification from West 3D. I got a package coming in. It's coming via UPS. Okay, sweet. So it left Portland yesterday. And for whatever reason, they're saying it's not going to get to me until October 1st. Doubt it. I can expect it to get here before then, but if it doesn't get here until Tuesday, that's good. So that's my positron kit. So we got the AFC light board, which is the specialty made board for the box turtle. We've got the stuff to build Snappy, which is the filament cutter that you can put at the back side of the box turtle. So you can put it on things like the Rook 2020. Um, I do have two box turtles I'm bringing. The one will be up and running on my Trident, and that's working well. In fact, both box turtles serialized off the Trident. They're not the best prints because I still need to tune extrusion multipliers and stuff, and get the turtleneck on it. And once again, this is a serial print designed for a 0.4, but printed with a 0.6 nozzle. So there's some gaps there just simply because it's not going to fill in all the edges using a 0.6 versus a 0.4 when it was designed size-wise for a 0.4. I would have to increase the size, like at least X and Y, to get a little bit better, nicer print out of it. But that's just because I'm running a 0.6 nozzle on it. I do have a box turtle configured to run on the KB3D Rook 2020 Mark II that we built on stream. I will try it, but we may just take it back off and it becomes this is a standalone show piece right now. Just because there's no filament cutter. I've got the parts for Snappy. I haven't got the parts printed for Snappy yet. And I don't want to be working on it at the show, during the show, trying to make it work. Right? So it'll be hey, let's pick it up and look at it and see what box turtle looks like underneath and stuff like that. I've got, so the parts are printed for the third one, and I'll probably do a fourth one. So I'll probably have at least 4 of these myself. And once again, the parts here, this is Polymaker, this is metallic blue and metallic green. Okay, so metallic blue and metallic green. I think these are going to look nice, especially for a box turtle. And of course, the lanes are black. I may go through and do multicolor lanes because they do have the box turtle logo inlay for the lanes. And so I may go through and do different lanes that have the box turtle logo in them in a different color. But yeah, it'll be interesting. And by the way, hey, Creatix Brit, welcome on in. How are you doing? Hopefully you're doing well. So we've got the positron that's coming in. That'll be a build. We still have the droid builds. We still have the armor to build or assemble. And I think I found out there's some more parts that I didn't print yet that I'm going to have to print. And then I don't want to do that. Sorry, I'm trying to talk and shop at the same time. That's really bad. But I need to build the mini chopper still. I think I'm like talking myself into reprinting it as a multicolor print since I'm now, I've got the AMSs here. I've got 5 colors with the MMU on the Prusa. And I figured out that to do the multicolor full body so I wouldn't have to paint it, I would need 6 colors. So I'm like, crap. Well, hey, I can daisy chain 2 box turtles together and have 8 colors like you're doing the AMSs. So, we could do that. So yeah, that is something that I'm thinking about doing. Really? Okay. Sorry, I'll focus on that later after the stream. So we'll have a positron coming. We have the other box turtles to build. We'll have the droid. We have Dio that we need to fix the head and neck on. Since I have the new servos and I've had them here for like almost a year. And a few other projects that we'll be working on like that. I have, it's going to sound weird. I have no other printer builds on the books other than positron right now. So I need to come up with a printer build out of 3D Printopia. and not a chewy box of parts build. Just saying. Um, so yeah, I'll be talking to various vendors to see what may be out there that we can come to terms on for doing another build. I will say that I have uh, a reduced cost beta opportunity with RatRig for something else that's coming down the pipe. So I will be looking, or I am doing that. So I just don't know when that's shipping. I think it's October, November. So we'll have that coming as well. We will be doing some content on the Milo. Now that it's cooling off some, I can get out into the shed and because we still need to do the initial setup, like commissioning type stuff on the Milo, which is um, the the CNC milling machine, and that will enable us to start building some parts or cutting parts that we can do upgrades on some of the other printers here. Like there's an upgrade, there's a set of all metal upgrades for the Mercury 1 that Turtle Crawler has provided me that we may be doing. That would involve like a tube, some all metal tower replacement, stuff like that. Um, Sky Marie, what printer are you using with the box turtle? So I will have the printer that's in this gap here is a 350, excuse me, whoa, a Trident 300 that we named Iron Dragon. It's got my Digital Dragon logo on the sides of it with the darker panels. That's the one I use to test out hot ends and other things that I do under beta testing. In fact, I'm also waiting for two different hot end things coming from betas that I'm going to be testing. So I haven't received them yet. They'll probably come while I'm gone. But I'll have one on a Trident. So the red and orange one that we built on stream is on the Trident, and it's going to be there at my booth. The white and blue one that we rebuilt on stream, that one is going to be at the KB3D booth. I am trying to get it working on the Rook 2020 with tip forming. I stopped fighting tip forming last night. I haven't even looked at it. It's packed. It's ready to go to the show. I'll give it a show or give it a try at the show. If I have issues where I keep getting jams because I'm getting strings, I'm going to stop and we'll just start printing regular things through that printer, and we'll have the box turtle there that people can just like pick up, look at, and we'll talk about box turtle, and it'll be a non-printing, ooh, let me look at it type thing. But the working one is going to definitely be up at my booth. I'm also going to have black box, which is what's missing in this gap. So we'll have black box, which is a 5-head tool changer. Okay. So black box, you can do multicolored, same material prints. You can do multi-material like print with PETG and PLA because they don't stick. So you can use zero gap supports and do prints like that. Or you can do like captive TPU prints where you can build like live hinges, or you can do things like that, right? Where Box Turtle and AMS and the Prusa MMU, I think it's the SMUF, Um, those, they say they're multi-material units. They're really multi-color units. Okay. Like you do not want to mix PLA and PETG or PLA and ABS or PLA and even TPU because they're printing at different um, temperatures, right? And trying to do that through a single tool head, you are asking for one hell of a mess and you're going to be tearing that tool head apart. And you're going to get frustrated at tearing that tool head apart because you're going to get clogs. Because as soon as you switch from TPU, PETG, or ABS and try and go back to PLA, it's going to be printing at a lower temp and it's going to clog because you're not going to be able to push the residual um, TPU, PETG, or whatever material that's in there out unless you purge at a higher temp and then try and print, but eventually you'll get buildup, right? Yeah, that's why Box Turtle is being set up for tool changer. So box box turtle, I can't use box turtle on black box. Why? Because black box and a default build is running RepRap firmware. Box turtle works with Clipper, and that is Clipper that you have access to. So you're not going to make box turtle work with an X1 carbon or a P1S. Why? Because they use different connectivity that we don't have access to, and you would have to jailbreak the firmware. Now, you can make it work with K1, K1 Max, K1C, because there's proven methods to jailbreak that firmware. And I want to scream bloody murder at this, at the whining of this spool. Like seriously, it's driving me nuts. I'm going to lose hair over it. Um, it's just a bad winding spool, and that's feedback that I need to give to somebody at the show. Um, but say you built a stealth burner, or you're building that new SVO8 tool changer that Teaching Tech, Michael Laws with Teaching Tech's built. You can run that, and basically what you're saying is we're referring to like T0, T1, T2, T3 is leg 1, leg 2, leg 3, leg 4, right? But you can assign, it's how you do the configuration of the software at that point, right? Because you'll have one, multiple boards, and you'll have, it's more of assigning and telling your printer that physical tool 0, tool head 0, has 5 color options to it. So T0 is mapped to tool 0, leg 1. Tool 1 is tool head 0, leg 2. Tool head 0, leg 3. So you can literally have like a 5 or 6 tool head stealth changer, and each one of those is connected to a box turtle. So think about that. I know. Like right now, I feel like a chia pet because it is kind of long, and I'm debating whether or not I'm going to cut it before I go to the show or not. And yeah, this thing is going to drive me that. Let's call it BSC. Because right now, what happens is there's a spot where it falls down off the side. So it's getting caught and dragging between the filament and the sidewall of the spool. and I'm trying to print the rest of the parts for Snappy, and this spool is killing me. And of course, I have the spool rewinder, but right now the um oh, whatchamacallit, the handle on it, I've got to replace the one bar that the handle connects to because I keep rounding it over. Or split a turtle up to different heads. So you have like 2 lanes working on one. Yeah, you can do that. Oh, and that's right. There is an option, and I just never think about it because I'm running mine with the hub like an AMS. You can run the outputs of all 4 lanes out the back. There is a different rear skirt to have 4 different lanes coming out the back. So basically, you're using the box turtle as an automated spool rewinding for each independent tool head, right? Or loader and stuff like that. So yeah, I mean, there's options there. It's more of right now what MG Longshot and the team are working on is more of the software side. I think the hardware side, we're getting less and less changes on the print files and the overall design. I think the overall design at this point is pretty solidified, and the majority of the changes are now on the software and configurations. Right, that's where I'm seeing more changes, more commits is the software. Like 4, 5, 6 times a day. Yeah, could you imagine the? I mean, think about this: a rat rig, IDEX, with a box turtle feeding each one. Especially like this is the 300 size. Think of it with like a 500 by 500. That would be nice, you know. That's a thought. But yeah, I am thinking about, are there some opportunities? Because when I went and got my quartz countertop, I was when I was talking to the people, the lady was saying, "Oh, why do you need the quartz for?" And I was like, "Well, I need a build surface that is flat, right? Flatter than a 1/4 inch MDF bench top, right? That I can square up 3D printer frames on." She goes, "You're 3D printing?" I'm like, "Yeah." And I showed her some. She goes, "Oh, that would be really cool." She has a friend in town here who does it's a hot rod shop, right? And they just had a falling out with somebody over getting some parts printed in some engineering filaments. And I'm like, I've got printers that can print CF nylon that I've had success printing CF nylon on that would be great for various car parts, right? For hot rods and stuff. What I don't have is one that might be big enough to say, um, do like air in boxes and stuff like that. I'd have to really part them out and then have to worry about sealing them up well, right? But if I can figure out what the use case is for and then maybe get a printer that's big enough that I can do it is either a full part or a couple of parts, that might be something worthwhile. Even if it's I get a printer and it's not like I'm churning them out, but I'm doing one-offs for custom orders, you know, or split a turtle up to different heads. Yeah. Monlight. I don't think I'm going to be running an SKR E3 Mini V3. Um, for what? Monlight. What were you considering running that on? Yeah, I mean, it could be ASA, it could be an ASA carbon fiber. It depends on the use case and location, right? But yeah, I mean, you would get the appropriate engineering filament, and even if it's some of the new Fibron stuff with the PPS carbon fiber, but I gotta get like the tube and the Takata running to start doing some of that. Either that or high temp revo. You can't get VS Code to play well. Um, I would be shocked. So are you trying to recompile for Marlin? Yeah, if you're compiling for Marlin, because I don't think they're providing like the latest like Marlin revision. Um, you have to run Big Tree Tech firmware that uses Marlin. Okay. Um, I'll talk to him in a second, but I wonder. I wonder. I have a feeling if it's the version of the Ender 3 that I'm thinking of, it's the one that has the vertical screen that doesn't work with Clipper. You either have to swap the screen out or stay with Marlin. Yeah, there is Clipper firmware out there if you want to run Clipper, but once again, that means running a Raspberry Pi or something else to connect to that printer that can run the Clipper side and the mainsail side, which I'm sure you're familiar with Modlite. But if you want it to remain, I'll say more standalone-ish, then yeah, it would have to be with the Marlin. And I haven't done it in a while. I'm sure I have the ability to do it still, but I would have to look at it. You know, I want to say EB3D Dan, MakerMind Nexus was just doing that the other day. He was just redoing Marlin firmware for an Ender 3 something. But yeah. Yeah. Personally, I'd much rather run Clipper because I can make changes on the fly without having to constantly recompile. That's what finally got me started in the Clipper once I did my Ender 3 that way, and I haven't looked back. Um, Nothing I have right now. I'm gonna so the Prusas are running. I believe they still run Marlin even on the Mark IV. But the Prusas are my Prusa Mark IV and my Prusa Mini are running. I'll say stock. I think I'm running the Bondtech version, like the Bondtech modified version of stock for the Prusa Mini because I've got the Bondtech extruder with the integrated filament sensor in it. But I'm running Prusa, and I run standard Prusa slicer profiles for both of those. Everything else is running Clipper and pretty much through Orca Slicer. I still run Bamboo Slicer for these two. It's just easier. It's easier that way. And the Ender Belt, it's running Clipper, but I was running Idea Maker because they support belt printers. I could not bring myself to doing like a 8-year-old version of Cura in order to run the black belt version of Cura. Yep, I get it. Gets it, sir. So yeah, that's kind of all I had tonight. I didn't want to get into Luke Big Tree Tech has a Clipper config to run on the board. You want to get? Is that an ask? Or because Big Tree Tech does have Clipper configs for all of their boards. Is it, once again, are they keeping that up with the latest version of Clipper? Probably not. But if you install it on the board, the worst it'll do is say, hey, you need to recompile the firmware. And they've, it's going to your Pi, make menu config, and they've got the latest version. Or not the latest version, but they've got yeah. There are versions on the GitHub for it. You'll download it. If there's a Clipper version mismatch between your Raspberry Pi and the latest and greatest version of Clipper that you've installed when you install it, and the board, it'll throw an error. You just go into the Pi, you bring up the GitHub, and you run through. The settings are the same. You're just recompiling it with the latest version of the Clipper backend, and that's specifically why I bought a 128 meg SD card from KB3D Chris. Because that way, if I forget to leave it in, or if I forget and leave it in, it's no big deal. But once you download that Clipper bin, change it to firmware.bin, put it in the SKR, power it on, wait for it to firmware boot and come up. From that point on, you can remove that SD card. It's not required because all that's running on the board at that point is the firmware. It's not running any of the smarts. All the smarts are now on the Raspberry Pi. God, what am I thinking of? But yeah, that's the biggest thing. From that point on, if you ever update Clipper for a new feature or whatever, or you just, hey, update all, and it can't talk to the board because it's a new version of Clipper. If that's a Pi that's only dedicated to that printer, open it back up, make menu config again, it should have all the same settings in there as before. Make clean, make, remake, right? Pretty easy to do the Clipper firmware. It's more of when you're using CAN bus and you got to do all the CAN bus boards at the same time. And the reason it's a pain in the butt is depending on what board you're using. Like I'm running an SKR Mini E3 V3. That is a G0B1 chip, right? I have a EBB 36 on the extruder running in CAN bus, right? Or maybe not even CAN bus, just a serial connection or whatever. Um, it's a G0B1 chip as well, especially with CAN bus. One is a PD01 PD Delta 1. So Papa Delta 0 / Papa Delta 1 for the CAN bus communication. The other one is Papa Bravo 0 / Papa Bravo 1. And I guarantee you I will screw that up and I will break the communication again when I update it because of it. So it's campus and that same board. I may be getting it in a 3 version. Yeah, yeah. CAN bus is good, right? But I kind of, when I built the K3 here, and I have multiple boards in it, plus the beacon and everything else, it's all done USB. And in talking to them, I now understand why this is all USB and not doing CAN. Because one thing you'll have an issue with is on CAN bus, you may have issues homing when different sensors are on different boards, right? Like the Trident, Y was connected to the main board. X and the CNC tap was connected to the SB2209 via CAN bus. Every once in a while, I get a communication sync thing, and it doesn't home right. It doesn't happen all the time, but it does happen sometimes. Is it a big deal for me? Not really. But if it's in a production print farm and you just need it to work all the time, every time, all USB works perfectly well. Works perfectly well. In fact, I'm running a hub in there because I've got so many USB connections in. You know, um, you, you do what you do. But yeah, so folks, it's 9 o'clock. I'm actually going to find a place to raid into tonight. This has been great. It's just been a chat and chill session. We've done some browsing. We've done some chatting. I've squirreled all over the place, which I expected to do, drinking as much coffee as I have today, and last day before the show, and just trying to think about, what you're doing. Am I bringing everything? Do I need to bring anything else? Do I want to bring anything else? And I'm like, no, I don't need to bring project stuff because I'm not going to be working on it at the hotel room. My wife's going with me, so I'm not going to be like, hey, I spent all day talking 3D printers, and then I'm going to go home and work on 3D printer stuff in the hotel. Not going to fly. So it'll be social time. Thanks, Modlight. We'll be safe tomorrow driving. Like I said, I think we're going to hit a lot of the rain, but I don't think. I'm hoping it's not going to be crazy like thunderstorm, rainy stuff. God, that spool winding. I really want to respool it, but I have to reprint some parts for the Um, but yeah, so it should be okay. Let me see who's online. Zombie's already there, so I doubt if he is planning on doing any streaming. Um, I may be mistaken. Jano, I'm not sure if he's already there. Let me see who's here. We may have to go off script and go outside the 3D printing room. Yeah, a lot of my folks are playing games. We have some Legos going on. My 3D printers are people that are just um, showing their printers running. Let's go on. We're going to go on over to Astro Canuck. We haven't been over there for a little bit. So I'm going to go ahead and get a raid started over to Astro Canuck. So thank you everybody for being here. I know it was kind of a uh, low hype, low tone stream tonight, but thanks for hanging with me. Like I said, we're going to go and be at 3D Printopia. I am not streaming Saturday. I'm going to try and film some content on my phone and, do some type of video afterwards, probably over on the YouTube channel. But thank you for being here. And we will see you guys Tuesday. I will be streaming Tuesday and kind of doing a little bit of an overview of 3D Printopia and everything that went on. So thank you, everybody. We'll see you again on Tuesday. And let's go on over and show some love to Asher. Bye now.